Hey geeks, what's going on? My name is Brandon. Welcome back to the Geek XP. We are here for our next, but should have been last, episode review for Steven Universe. This episode review is for Dugout. For whatever reason, the website that I used to watch Steven Universe didn't have this one up, so I totally missed it. Didn't know it was a thing until you guys commented down below. So let's get into it. This episode revolves around Connie's dad, Doug Maheshwaran. In the episode, we have Connie and Steven hanging out, and then her dad shows up. And her dad works as a security guard for a bunch of different beaches across the state. So he's working at a bunch of different places. But in this episode, he's working at Beach City because Mr. Smiley has reported that there's someone hanging out in the Funland theme park after dark. So he is there to investigate. And Doug is this super funny, goofy, enthusiastic guy. He gets really into his job, and so him in this entire episode is delightful. He's got this box of confiscated costume stuff that Steven and Connie wear. Connie dresses up, and she's Veronica something, I can't remember, but she basically looks like Carmen Sandiego. And then Steven puts on this mustache and hat, and he's something Pizza Papacopolis or something like that. And he basically looks like one of the Mario Luigi characters. And that's really fun. And he, indulges them in that. And when they investigate what's going on in this theme park, the gate is torn open, not just cut, but torn open. And they're chasing this mysterious figure around, and they get stuck in this ride. And physics thwarts Doug's efforts to use his trusty flashlight to get them out of that situation. And then they go into this chase scene, and lo and behold, it's Onion. Because it could only be Onion causing all this devastation. But then the episode ends. Doug has a moment where he sort of confesses that he doesn't feel that his life is as exciting as his wife or Connie and Steven's. But they console him and he feels good. But then as they're leaving, something happens. A shadow emerges. And we don't know what happens to Onion. And it actually illuminates something that happens in the next episode that I had watched first. But let's get into sort of the details. So I like this episode. It was fun. I always like Connie episodes. I think Steven is oftentimes at his best when he's with Connie. They're such a great duo. And again, in this episode, we see some of their great teamwork. We get to see more of Doug in this episode than I think we ever have before. Because before, he's always sort of been a little bit more reserved or sort of kept back. And I think when he's with his wife, he sort of adopts some of her more stoic personality traits. But when he's by himself, he seems a lot goofier, which I thought was really cool, and I like that about him. And I like how much he got into his work. He's a security guard. He knows not much happens to him on the job. But when he's with Connie and Steven, he wants to try to make them feel like, hey, good old Mr. Maheshwaran knows what you guys are about. He does dangerous stuff too. He's got his trusty flashlight, and I like the part where he is reloading his flashlight with batteries as if it was some sort of firearm. Was super goofy and funny, and I loved that. But yeah, I love this side of him that we get to see that we haven't seen before. Now that sort of it's been revealed that Connie's doing magic quest stuff with Steven. I think he's able to sort of drop that stoic veil that I think for Connie's mom, that's just part of her personality. But I think that's something that Doug adopted to sort of reinforce their parental style for Connie. And so it's interesting to see this sort of shift now that that big reveal has been made. So I like that. I like that Connie and her dad have this awesome, cool relationship where they're goofy together and fun. When she says I'll be Veronica, and I can't remember the last name for the life of me. He remembered it every time. I mean, obviously they have it written in front of them, and the voice actors are reading it or when they're writing it. But as his character, he remembered it and he embellished that. I thought it was a riot when he throws the flashlight, and he actually had the mark. He was gonna hit that button, and then Connie hilariously, when he throws it, it comes back to him, and Connie's like, "Oh no, physics!" I cracked up. That was a riot. And then he tries throwing it at an angle, and he makes it even worse because now they have this big, heavy-duty metal flashlight flying around in this room, risking to bat one of them in the head. And then Steven uses his crystal gem powers to get them out of that. You know, probably helps. Once he's off the wall, physics stops making him spin, so he's good. And then he like breaks down the door. And so the way this episode sets up, they get this cool chase scene. Steven and Connie use some epic teamwork, and then they find Onion. And of course, I'm just like, of course it's Onion. Like, you know, big shadow, all this destruction. Like, who knows how he's doing all this stuff? But you know, it's Onion, so who knows what he really is or what he's really capable of. He's this cute moment actually where he like runs to embrace Steven when they take off the disguises. Like, I like how their relationship has formed. It's super cute. And so, you know, they let Onion off with a warning. And, you know, he's just like, when Doug is like, I'm not, you know, how'd you break open the thing? And, you know, Steven's like, well, he knows how to use a blowtorch. But Onion seems to insist that he didn't break open the gate. Like, he didn't do that. And so we're like, interesting. And at first, I was kind of unsure, like, does it really matter if I didn't watch the episode first? Because now I'm thinking, is it those things that we saw at the end of the episode? But there was a comment on our last review for The Good Lars where one of you guys brought up that Lars was going to go to the party, but then was kidnapped by those beings who were casting the shadows at the very end of the episode. Hi, kitten. This is Hester, one of our foster kittens. Hi, honey. So one of you guys brought up that, and without seeing this episode, I was just like, yes, but having the cake in the garbage can to me seemed like a really intentional decision by him to not go in. And I still think that's true, but now with both of these episodes, you know, because at the end, you know, Onion's there, the shadow gets cast on one of these two figures who we saw at the end of The Good Lars, and he sort of turns around and then we cut to black. So I can totally see now with Lars totally missing, like he wasn't home, he wasn't anywhere, and he didn't pick up his phone. Now I totally get why you guys thought that Lars had been kidnapped by these mysterious figures, and I totally agree now that I've seen this episode. So I think Onion and Lars are missing now, and maybe Sadie too, because they were following her on her way home. So we'll see how that goes for the next episode. But it was super ominous. It was kind of interesting because I was waiting to see if it was going to be the gems that we saw, like, you know, if it was going to be that sort of reveal. But I mean, if they're going to show them just as shadows in the next episode, then that wouldn't really make any sense. But yeah, it was a super fun episode. You know, not too like, it wasn't too thrilling or like, you know, like white knuckled, clenched sort of tension. It was just a fun episode with some goofiness, but then a little bit of tension there at the end. They're building towards the reveal for who these new characters are. I'm super excited to see what their deal is and who they are. This kitten is climbing all over me. So yeah, I thought it was fun. In terms of the recent episodes we've got, you know, I would rank it probably, I think I would rank it maybe a little bit above The Good Lars, just because, you know, we've done his story. This is the first time we've gotten to see Doug, you know, sort of in his element, as it were. And he loves his job, and he loves his family, so, you know, I like him a lot. I was glad we got to see this more free, I guess, side of him. So, but let me know what you guys thought of the episode and of my review down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, then make sure to like it. And if you enjoy what we do on the Geek XP, make sure to subscribe for future content. Thank you guys for watching. You have been awarded some Geek XP. And until next time, stay geeky, my friends. Say bye, Hester. Bye-bye. So cute. Yeah.